It's go time.
Yeah, what time?
Go
Oh,
time.
let's go. Let's go.
Guys, morning rain 62 miles, hopefully. Let's go.
I know what you're thinking. Who are these people? Well, that's my overly enthusiastic husband, Bryce. And that's me, Jen, the one that keeps pushing these race numbers higher. Our running journey started at different points for both of us. But our running journey together started in 2018. Within a year of dating, Bryce wanted to understand my brain a little better, which is a hot mess to untangle. But he wanted to know why I loved running marathons so much. So he committed to the challenge of not just dating me, but running his first road marathon, where he was bitten by the endurance bug. Completing that together set our relationship on a new level and created a mindset that we have to keep challenging ourselves mentally and physically. Or in other words, chasing the runner's high. However, in 2020, our endurance chasing came to a screeching halt. That's because I needed to have knee surgery, and a day later, Bryce had a severe vertigo attack that left him with triple PD, where he had to regain all of his balance and proprioception back. So I think it's safe to say we like to be on an even playing field together. So after a few years of building back up from ground zero and getting some confidence back in our body, we wanted to chase that high again together. I have always had this little nugget of a dream in the back of my head to try an ultramarathon, which I had been way too scared to attempt because logistically it seemed unfathomable that I could push my body that far safely. So when I tossed that idea out to Bryce if we could try one together, he was up for the challenge.
We got this! Okay.
I'm ready to run a lot.
So in 2022, we trained our couch potato bodies for 24 weeks to run the Black Canyon 60K in 2023. And not only did we run the heck out of that race, but we were able to finally call ourselves ultramarathoners, as well as engaged, because that little stinker really knew how to seal the deal. So from there, our ultramarathon love began. With getting to do a 50K in Colorado the same fall successfully, we knew we were ready to take on the next scariest and biggest challenge, 100K. The looming question that flickered through our head was, could we? This 20-week training period rocked us with unforeseen ups and downs with physical injuries and harsh weather, which took a huge toll on our confidence and our ability to conquer this new scary challenge. Bryce and I both developed ankle injuries, but Bryce's was a little bit worse because he missed 8 weeks of training. So along the way, we had to keep making judgment calls if we were going to drop out of this run all the way up to race day. But ultimately, we decided to tighten up our shoelaces and go for it. Because even if we only crossed the starting line, we at least tried. So with all that info, let's get back to the morning of race day.
How are you feeling right now?
Oh, hey!
What's going through your brain?
I'm just hoping that I can go poop.
It's going to be an important part.
The hay's in the barn. That's all I gotta say. Potatoes are done. They might be slightly undercooked, but, that's okay. You gotta come in underbaked and overbaked. Maybe half-baked, I don't know.
There is nothing more desirable on race day morning than feeling like a cold, underbaked potato wrapped in anxiety. Your brain becomes a chaotic playlist of self-doubt, bathroom logistics, and wondering if that slight ache in your ankle is a sign from your body saying, nope.
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel, how prepared I'm supposed to feel, but maybe I'm not feeling as prepared as I should, but
Once you start running, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're not gonna worry.
It's hard to know right now.
Yeah. The first 10 miles are kind of blissful. You're running on caffeine and just like all the adrenaline. It's after that where it really starts to sink in just how dumb you are.
So while you wait for that countdown to set out on a quest to run the furthest distance your lower appendages have ever carried you, the mind games start. They remind you of every skip training run, if you did enough strength training, which is usually never, and every reason why you clearly are not ready. But here's the thing, having your best support by your side makes all the difference. They take that doubt away and instill their 100% belief in you.
Average crew!
This is your reminder to remember your why, which for me is finding that long lost and hard to find confidence. Because when you lack the confidence in your abilities, the start of something always begins with uncertainty, worry, and doubt of accomplishing your end goal.
Woo! First 100K! Woo!
So to unravel that potato sack of nasty thoughts weighing you down, you just gotta start.
3, 2, 1. Let's go!
Yeah!
Mile 1, let's go!
So after a really slow start, because when you do ultras, you pretty much just walk across the start line and then do a very slow jog to ease into it.
Especially for the third wave. The third wave is a shuffle start.
So right from the get-go, my mind is just paying attention to anything I'm feeling and trying to send it all these alarming messages being like, ooh, there's something already kind of feeling weird and you're not even like a mile into this race. Are you okay? Or I just remember my heart rate being kind of high and my watch telling me it was high, but then I'm able to talk with Bryce, so I knew it wasn't like a crazy high heart rate.
Yeah.
And that was just getting me nervous for the beginning of the race because we had so many more miles to go, and I was just also very hyper fixated on not damaging myself. And I don't know why this was the race where my mind was just going to all those like awful places. I think it was just because of that bigger goal at the end, and it's like double the amount we've ever gone. So I don't know what it would feel like to go another 30 miles after doing 30 miles. And I think I just wanted to start giving myself a reason to doubt myself that I could finish this. And so if I had all these little things built up, it would be my excuse to be like, well, this is why I couldn't finish. And so I really had to combat that mental mindset in the beginning to give myself the confidence that like it's all okay, like, you know, just take it easy. We're not trying to win anything.
Yeah, right.
Never trying to win anything, by the way.
Just trying to finish the race.
And I had to really start to focus on checkpoint per checkpoint and giving myself grace to take it easy in the beginning and make sure that we're all going to be okay.
I remember thinking like, I really hope that my ankle or a knee or something else just doesn't start hurting this early in the race, because then I know it's going to be painful and I'm not going to finish the race. And so I was feeling good enough where as I started to kind of stretch out and got moving and warmed up, that I was feeling really good. And that gave me some motivation of like, okay, you're going to be able to get a lot further today than we kind of anticipated.
So this is where Bryce's betting of if he's going to finish the race begins.
Yeah, so we had a sports bet going on where we were just really unsure, and everyone, including me, was betting against me finishing this race.
I definitely bet against him.
Yeah, so did I. I was like dead set on getting to Bumblebee and then partying with my friends.
And leaving me to cry and run lots of miles.
station ever!
Shake your booty. First aid station down. Got my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This is like the first time I ever was super hungry during a race.
It's a good sign.
It is a good sign. I was a little nervous in the beginning because my heart rate was really high, but I think my watch is always wrong. So it's causing me to have extra nervousness about all that. But I'm feeling good. Bryce?
Yep, feeling fine.
Bryce is gonna go to the end.
Let's hope.
Those bettors out there didn't win a lot of money. All right, gonna finish this, on to the next.
All right, we're almost 10 miles in. So far, so good. Perfect day.
Perfect day for a perfect date on the trail with my hubby.
Perfect day for PRs.
Well, yeah, I guess. Let's hope so. We just gotta get past 37 miles. And then it's a good PR. Oh my God, look how gorgeous this is. I feel so lucky. I see the next aid station. What is it out there? I'm looking forward to all the goodie snacks. Bryce and I decided that we're actually on a food tour right now. More specifically, a snack tour. And we just happen to have to run to each destination. So I'm looking forward to what this one has to provide. The last aid station, 10 of 10. Most exquisite peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever had. Super good. How about for you, Bryce?
Yeah, it makes it not so much about the running and more about the anticipation for a really soft peanut butter and jelly.
If you're ever wondering, like, why run an ultra? Just think, like, don't you want to eat food?
Yeah,
Out in the middle, aren't you hungry? In the middle of the desert? Anyways, just thought I'd update you where our mindset is right now. So, catch you at the aid station.
Getting to Hidden Treasure Aid Station was, I don't know, it vamped up the party. They had the best music.
Yeah, they did.
And I felt like it was just another win. And I knew going into it after that we were gonna start our favorite section of the whole entire course.
All right, 6.5 miles. Here we go.
Bumblebee.
Because this is the section that we have ran to death and maybe have memorized in our sleep.
When we were running the 60K, it was around mile 14 that I started to feel a shin splint for the first time in my entire life. It was starting to become apparent at that point. When I was visualizing the 100K, I was nervous about hitting similar mileage and starting to feel just this shin splint coming on. And then leading up to Bumblebee, by mile 19, it had gotten really bad in the first time. So I was gaining confidence as we went each mile past 14, where I really didn't have any foot pain and I wasn't wearing a brace or anything at this point. So I was like, okay, this is going a lot better than I expected. And it was definitely giving me some mental boosts of like, today is gonna be a longer day than I expected and a harder day.
I could just tell from your demeanor that you were feeling really good. Your trajectory of confidence was starting to skyrocket past mine. And I was getting a little concerned for myself because I was like, I feel like I put way more effort in for this
definitely
race.
did.
And he's just over here having the time of his life.
There was a strategy I was trying this time around, and it was just to put in as much food and water early as I possibly could. And I really think that that was helping, especially, I mean, this is pretty early on in the race, but I was eating more than I had ever ate at those aid stations, and I was drinking more water and trying to just like finish off my pouches and squeeze all the water out of them, and really just trying to stay ahead, where before, especially with the 60K, I don't know, it didn't feel like the end of the race was that much further, so I didn't feel like it was gonna be as impactful. It really was helping me. And I think especially by the time we got the Bumblebee, that's part of the reason I think I was feeling so good, is I had just been fueling more than ever before.
I think they were just sprinkling something into those PB&Js to help you have this wonderful time.
Yeah.
Bryce is just never this happy.
Get off the ground.
Really feeling a lot. Good. Not well. I'm
52.
feeling a lot, but feeling a lot.
Is it Modelo?
Let's go, baby!
Oh, really? This cold is fine.
And there's one cracked over here even.
2.
The most crucial racing equipment wanderers need is a crew. And not any crew, but an average one, where sometimes cheering is the most aid you get. The key members you need to make up an average crew are an energizer. They will keep you going even if it's at 1 mile per hour. An inspirator. They are the one that keeps your midlife crisis in check and doesn't allow you to quit. A guide follower. They are the crew member that thoroughly looked at your long-winded 20-page guide you anxiously wrote and follows it to a T. A vibe checker, because they make the positive mood flow through a 20-plus hour day. And lastly, you need a Modelo master. Because what's a race without the presence of unsolicited beer being offered to you at all times? For us, the crew is half the reason we sign up for these races. It's more of an excuse to get our friends to see us for short increments of time in an incredible location and watch us suffer through an event they likely never have to endure, hopefully, unless we, convince them. I would actually be okay if we had a dropout at this aid station because just getting to feel their energy and just wanting to hang out with them all day, we would have won at that point. We could have just gotten our own medals and just been like, we made it to Bumblebee to our crew.
That would have been a good long run. Everyone would have went home, had a good night's sleep, the end.
But no, we had to keep chasing our why. Mm-hmm. So we had to buck up and get ourselves together, get our food in. They did such a great job with the timing, making sure that they were following how much time we actually wanted to spend at these aid stations. Mm-hmm. They were really good at making sure we reapplied our sunscreen, had all the necessary things in our bags, and all while just hyping us up.
And drinking Modelos.
Yes. Just to declare, we did not drink any Modelos on the race, but they were offered.
Yeah, they were there, and there was a lot of shame that we weren't, but they were there. A big goal of ours was just to shave a lot of time at Bumblebee as much as we wanted to be there with everyone. The timer, I think at 15 minutes, was about where we scrambled out of there, and we just grabbed our trekking poles, some more food and refills on everything, and then made our way for the next big climb we were going to be facing.
Can't see it, but we're at mile 20. Feeling good.
Just gonna walk a little bit though.
Yep, ate a lot of food at that last Bumblebee rest stop.
Caroline's getting ready. So is David. David, how are you feeling?
I'm great.
Ready for 19?
Yeah, I'm ready to run 20.
Amazing.
Let's do it.
While Caroline puts on her sparkles.
Far more important.
I thought you were running, but I was running so slow, just walk. How do you feel, Bryce?
Good? Yeah, first in a marathon in. You know, it's not bad. Oh, careful.
God, they're going like really slow.
I'm so tired.
Are they?
Okay, very, very rocky, steep section. We are going to be not falling. That is our JV. So bad right now. It feels like a cheese grater in between my legs. But joints feel okay. I'll take this pain. Just gotta get to this deep canyon and I can change my clothes.
Why did Jen tell us to get here so early?
We don't have all
Sit here
day.
and wait in the sun? Like, ugh.
In this perfect weather, gross.
When is this gonna be over?
I don't know. Just waiting for them to come around the mountain so we can give them their shit again.
I'm literally never going to be friends with them again. They're not here in the next 5 minutes.
Almost 30 miles in and still doing okay. Got a little tightness developing behind my knee, so that's new, but I'm managing. And Bryce is just being a superstar back here, redeeming himself from the 60K.
Guess so.
If you're betting high, he's gonna finish. It's looking good.
The 100 to 1 odds, sports bets.
Woo woo! But we are almost to Deep Canyon to get our first pacer. It's gonna be a good time. I'm looking forward to sitting down a little bit.
That's where the race really starts.
Yeah.
We're so proud of you.
Man, that's a tough section.
Want to finish the loop? You have to come back this way. And then
I'm still coming.
you're doing so great, Jen.
Yeah!
Yeah, look at
Let's go! Let's go! Woo! Let's go, Jen! At least you're not Santiago, Jen, yet.
That is all.
Maybe not as strong.
All right.
That is a
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
Once we had a moment to sit down at the van and kind of relax, I remember thinking that, hey, this would be a really good place to drop out of the race. I made it 50K, I feel good, I'm dehydrated. I mean, we're both pretty tired at this point. It's been a long day. But then I knew that I hadn't given it my all. My ankle wasn't even hurting at this point at all. Like, it felt fantastic.
Was anything hurting for you at this point? Because I felt like you were just blazing through.
I was definitely tired, you know, but not, yeah, tired but not injured. And I think that's the major thing. And then we both changed clothes, and that was a game changer. We should do that more often.
I felt like a whole new person with dry clothes on.
Yeah.
And it was just a relief to know that I didn't have to wear those same shorts that were making my legs into cheese graters. At mile 31, we were now finally able to pick up a pacer, and David was pumped, and we desperately needed to have a new sense of energy, a new sense of mindset to join us, because we used, I think, all we had for each other.
Yeah, one, I mean, we're married, we're glued at the hip, we do all this training together. I mean, we've beat the same stories to death, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know how much more we could talk about sometimes. It's fun to have someone new on the trail, especially someone like David.
Bryce, halfway done. How you feeling?
You know, I didn't think I'd be this far. So
He's feeling fantastic.
pretty good.
I mean, outstanding.
Jen, how you doing?
Yeah, I feel like a brick house. I made it. Let it all hang out. 2 minutes. But really, kind of. We're good.
go.
It's your time.
You got it. Halfway done.
I night as Bryce's pacer because he knew the hell he was gonna make it this far.
This time wasn't as bittersweet to leave the crew because we got one of them taken along with us. Like we mentioned, David was going to be our pacer for the next 20 miles. And David is my cousin who was genetically blessed for a body to actually run efficiently.
He's fast.
Yeah. So it was really exciting to have a family member join me on this journey. And I just remember David and I talking, oh man, I don't know, maybe a decade ago about both of us thinking about doing an ultra and how scary it was. And I think it's such a full circle moment to have him pace us on this longest ultra journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was awesome to get to know him better through that hardship that we went through together. Oh, Kane's having little dreamies.
He was setting himself up that we were going to be just blazing through the trail really fast. In reality, this section was a lot of hiking because a lot of lactic acid really caught up with me, and I just felt so much pain with every step I took. And it wasn't just because of the calf tear I was developing, it was just because my muscles were getting so tired and fatigued and my feet were starting to finally feel it. It was getting real for me at this point.
I was starting to settle in and just know what the rest of this is gonna look like, you know, and it's not gonna be nearly as fun as the other portions leading up to it.
David,
Yeah,
how are you feeling?
I feel stupendous.
Perfect.
Yeah, we need to vampire some of that energy right now.
I'm having a blast.
Good. David is crushing it. It's like you have fresh legs or something.
Yeah,
We're moving at a good pace too.
Thank you. I like that compliment.
17:36. Not bad.
And we had some running mixed in with it too. So.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
a little bit of shuffle.
Yeah. And then we stopped.
This is so much smaller.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Well,
don't goof up.
You're first to run.
that is one way. And I bet it felt good.
Oh, it looks so nice and clear.
Here we are at Black Canyon. How are you feeling?
I think I got a little bit of a second wind,
Oh yeah.
but I'll get winded when we have to climb back up that hill.
Yeah. Downhill is a little easier.
But we can do it. We got
Yeah.
David,
We're
most
good
positive
spirits.
pacer.
I'm gaining energy. I'm ready to go, man. How you doing, Bryce?
Not good. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm kind of salty, or trying to get more salty.
I'm going bananas.
All right, the jokes are gonna have to get better if this is gonna go on for longer.
On that ascent from the river, the sun was really starting to deplete and we had to finally put on our headlamps, which I was really excited about because we have never ran a race into the dark, and I just remember thinking, okay, like we're gonna put this headlamp on, there's gonna be so much clarity and it's gonna be no issue. And I put it on and all I see are just dust particles coming into my eyeballs.
I just felt like I was in a whiteout blizzard the whole time.
Yeah.
And it really gave you very poor visibility, especially during some sections where it had kind of lightweight sand. It was just in the air the whole time.
At least I'm getting into the pain cave, I think, here.
Yep.
Bryce, are you?
Yeah, my feet have never hurt this bad. I would say a minimum of 3 blisters that are wild. Super painful, but I feel like we're this deep in, we gotta finish.
Yeah.
But we put up with too much pain to get this far.
And I've been just having a little bit of upset stomach, and the back of my leg calf muscle has been very tight, but we're trekking along, all because we got Pacer David.
Upbeat David.
David, are you entering the pain cave?
No.
That's what I want to hear from my
I'm
Pacer.
outside the cave.
He's outside the
Feeling
cave,
good.
watching us inside the cave.
I'm gonna just keep observing.
I love that. No, you should lure us out of the cave. You know, but you can let us sit in there for a little bit longer.
Only you can remove yourself from the cave.
At this point especially, each rock that I stepped on really hurt my blisters. They were starting to get so bad and so deep. I would step on like a sharp rock and it would just be this like jolting pain. And that's when it really started to set in that the last section of the race is going to be very hard, and it's going to be the real ultra experience that you signed up for.
I just remember at this point thinking, Bryce is doing so freaking incredible and he looks so good. He seems like he's feeling good, minus your blisters. I knew that was like super painful for you. But man, I was just having a suffer fest inside my body because I now also started to develop the turning feeling of all the food I had been eating, and I'd been trying to do my best with keeping up with fueling and drinking, but there's just something about a mixture of sugar that gets in my stomach that overboards it. So for the next like 6 miles or so, I was just fighting this feeling of wanting to throw up, but also knowing that I had to keep things going into my system. I had to fight through that. It was not a good time for me at this point, and I'm just here listening to David and Bryce having a good old party in the back, just chattering away, laughing their faces off, and here I am just...
Watching Jen grind through there was definitely a challenge, I think, because we were now starting to slip from the time that we had built up, and I remember looking through and just seeing sections that were 20, 25, 27 minutes.
And in my mind too, I kept thinking like, oh, we built up so much time in the beginning, like these walking moments are okay. And it was just starting to kind of set in that we were getting really comfortable of moving really slow, and the excuses were kind of getting a little bit more leeway.
And yeah, we really started to run in the red there against cutoff. This was one of the moments where it was starting to get a little bit sketchy, and we weren't going to be finishing as early as I had kind of anticipated leading up to this time.
So we were just kind of teetering now on the edge of failure versus success. But speaking of success, Bryce finally conquered a goal within the race.
Bryce officially did it. 40 for 40.
I did it. I'm 40 and I ran 40 miles.
And we were supposed to do that last year, but we're doing it now.
Boom.
Woo! Yay!
He's been wanting to do 40 miles for his 40th birthday.
Yeah, that was a sub-quest of this, and another good place to stop within the race is what I had in my head. Like, yeah, it's a PR and I hit the 40 for 40.
Yeah, but you can't just stop at 40 miles because we were in such back trail that no one would be able to come and rescue you.
Yeah.
So he was forced to keep going. But also you were just feeling so good. So if you had to stop, I'd be like, I'm sorry, you're running. Like I'm gonna get out there with like the whip behind you and keep you going.
Okay, as long as you keep going.
It would be very slow whip though, because I can barely move myself. But I want to reward Bryce, finally, with the medal he earned and that I got almost a year ago.
Been waiting a long time for this.
40 for 40.
That's right. Here it is. All right.
Look at that. Good job. So it was really fun to have that little piece of celebration because from Black Canyon City to Cottonwood was the longest stretch in between aid stations. I believe it was about 9-mile stretch, and it was really starting to catch up with us that we had so much more to go.
Especially at the slow pace that we had. You know, 9 miles at our pace might have been 3 hours, right? So it was a long time to go off of what little amounts of food and water that we were actually carrying.
But yet again, this is where David came into play, and he was such a crucial role for us to get to the next aid station, because without him, I don't think we could keep up with each other, like mentally, to keep us going.
Need to focus on something that besides my feet hurting.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like now the other aches and pains on my body kind of disappeared. Like I hurt all over, but that's the worst. So that has all the mental focus.
I am nicely distracted because David is such a good audible and, you know, in-person podcast.
She's saying I talk a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, he has a soothing voice.
he really does. If you guys want a pacer, just ask him. We'll send David on over.
Yeah, he's really busy, but for the right amount of money, he'll do it.
Yeah.
I would have definitely been the hangriest, crabbiest wife.
She was very, very
Possible.
grumpy. Very grumpy. And I needed something to distract me from all the pain that I had.
Or someone to keep you safe from me.
A witness. I didn't realize that that's what he was the whole time.
So I wanted to see what 46.2 looked like.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You guys look great.
All right, well,
I thought so too.
Where's the knife to cut this?
look at that pathetic blister.
It feels so much worse.
But not a pathetic man.
Okay. Thank you for
Ooh,
helping
that
me.
one looks painful.
Yeah.
But there was one on just the pad of my foot. I was like scared to take off my shoes. I was like, okay, maybe I should just leave them on the whole race. I don't know how bad it is. It's gonna look like a war zone down there. And the one that I thought was gonna be like a gunshot wound on my foot ended up being very small. It's like the size of a quarter. And they're like, no big deal, we'll pop this, that's it, you can move on. But then the ones on my heels, which were not even that painful compared to the other one, they were like, oh, these are so deep and bad that they're gonna be a real problem later on. Obviously, blisters aren't gonna stop you from proceeding, so just, do what you can. And I still have those blisters today. It's been 2 months.
Yeah, maybe we should get that checked out.
Yeah, those were deep.
The saving grace at this aid station for me was they had hot ramen and like hot potato soup, and it just felt so good to get warm sodium into my body because I was so tired of eating more of the sugary snacks and stuff, and I felt like that gave me a second, maybe eighth wind at this point. To like keep going.
Yeah. Another observation at that particular aid station is once again kind of doubling down on just how real the race felt. There was a lot of people at that aid station that were in need of aid. They were laying down, they were passed out, people were sleeping on cots and different things like that, and mending different injuries and stuff. And one person had her face and her arm scraped up from a bad fall or something. It was feeling a lot more like a war zone than what I was used to in these other ultras.
But it also just shows you just how much dedication people have to finish and how much they're willing to put themselves through to accomplish their goal and this achievement they set out for. And so in a way that was really inspiring, just to know that you have camaraderie on the race course with other people that are going through the same thing and you're not alone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, even though I had you the whole time.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, he's just feeling
alone.
Super fantastic. And I feel so deep and alone in my horrible thoughts. After leaving Cottonwood, I had no idea that my lows could get even lower than they were. And I was just really starting to suffer. More than I thought I was suffering before. All the rocks were starting to now become my worst enemy, and I was just doing little trip ups. Every step I would take, there would just be rocks piling on top of my feet, and I would be like kicking them off the trail. I just remember having such weak moments of saying every curse word possible at all the rocks I was kicking because I just wanted to feel a smooth surface at that point. It was like little things like that really started to hit my frustration tolerance. And I just knew in my head that this is the worst version possible of me and I needed to get it under control. And if I could get it under control under stress and pain and worry at this moment, then I could get it under control any time of my life, which is good for you.
Yeah, especially when you're hungies.
Yeah, maybe that, I can't control that. This section for me was just really awful, and I remember just looking straight ahead of me for the next signal for that next aid station, which would be Table Mesa at mile 51. And so I just really wanted to get there so we could have some time to sit down and recoup, because I also feel like this whole section had been such a dream state and I was really losing track of where we were at with time, if we were going to be making it, even though in the back of my mind I kind of was feeling like there was something wrong with our timing.
Mile from Table Mesa.
We're at about 50 miles.
Morale is just is. This is just how it is.
We're on a death march. My body has never hurt this bad.
Yeah, I'm in disbelief. Bryce is here with me. He says he's never gonna train again because obviously he can get this far without it.
Why would I train when I could just do a race?
I don't think it's a good idea, but he's proven me wrong. I think he's doing a lot better than I am in all ways.
Now we're closing in on 10 miles. It just feels like we have to death march it out to the end and finish.
Yeah, I am pretty exhausted. I mean, mentally, kind of still there. David, do you think we're mentally still there?
Yeah, I mean, you haven't gone too far downhill. The jokes are still, 4s out of 10.
Oh, okay. Well,
good.
If they fall below 2 out of 10, we have to call medical staff.
okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna put this down now.
Yeah, don't fall.
Okay, see you at Table Mesa now.
We'll see.
I mean, when we get there.
March.
Okay. I'm in Minnesota to buy it now. Goodbye. That's a bush.
And I was so elated to just get there, sit down, and regroup. And also see our crew, even though the morale was starting to get pretty low at this point for them.
Everyone was beat. They needed to sit for long periods of time waiting for us because they didn't know when we were going to show up, right? There was this huge range. And so I think for that one in particular, everyone was like ready for the day to be over. You could tell. And when we got to that aid station and sat down at the van, that's where I was at my absolute low point of the entire race, trying to decide if, okay, am I gonna be done? Should I tap out right here? This was a good run, 50 some miles, or should I just push through? I mean, now you're so close to the end. I know I can do it, I'm just gonna be in a lot of pain.
Now that we arrived at Table Mesa, this is where Caroline's picking up with us, and David was gonna drop off because in his mind that he was gonna only do the 20 miles with us and he didn't want to do any more, just thinking that he was gonna be feeling really awful. And that's why then we were gonna have Caleb come and join us, where we quickly found once he put on all of his gear that he didn't actually have really any gear.
Yeah, he was not prepared
to
for this.
run with us. I just remember looking at him with Bryce's large shoes on his feet. He didn't have any really running clothes or sweatshirt. I don't even think he had a headlamp, and you could just see his scared face, like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this. And we had to make the call of, Caleb, you're out. Like, we can't put you through that. It's too dangerous, and we definitely need to make up time. Not that Caleb couldn't make up time with us, but he did have quite a few Modelo's.
To the average wanderers.
Yeah.
So he was carved up. He wasn't ready for what we were preparing him for.
Yeah.
And all I remember was David coming around the truck, putting his pack back on, getting energized again, be like, I got you, let's do this. And it was just like a warrior.
Oh yeah.
It was like the emperor leading his warriors into battle. That's what it felt like.
There was a moment where he jumped up in the air and kind of did this like excitement moment. I was really in my mind like, we're gonna freaking finish this thing. Look how excited David is.
If we're not gonna finish it, David's gonna finish it.
He'll carry me the rest of the way.
That was just a saving grace for David to pick it up. And also secretly, I really wanted him to pace the last section because I wanted him to do his first ultra within our ultra. So then that way the full circle comes complete.
Yeah, how cool is that?
But we got some more food in us and try to chug as much as we could, and then we had to just set out because we could not waste any more time.
Right here, right now.
When?
Right here.
Where?
Right now.
Wait, where?
All right. And this is the part where I really started to question if we were gonna finish or not, because this is when so many people were passing us. We're so frantic. I just recall looking back at Caroline and kept repeating, we're not gonna make it, we're not gonna make it. And she was like, well, as long as you're going 20-minute pace miles, like you guys are gonna get to the finish line. And I looked down at my watch and it was like 23, 24 minutes. Then I think that set a little bit of panic in for her. And we just were getting so far in that I needed to stop to get some clarity for us to add this all together if we were actually gonna make cutoff or not.
Starting to be delirious.
Oh,
We're
you
at
do exist always.
55 miles.
They are crushing it. So
Brutal.
impressed.
Something's getting crushed.
Yeah, David's
Maybe
crushing
my
his first
soul.
ultra. He came to pace and is running
Yeah.
a 50K.
I just needed more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't done yet.
What a stretch goal.
But, you know, we're gonna either go, I guess, more miles than we anticipate or the right amount of miles we anticipate. People keep telling us the wrong.
There's a lot of myths
I'm
about
only-
fake news.
I trust Carol.
I'm only gonna assume it's wrong because I want it to be shorter. But we're doing it. We're in it. Here we go.
Here we go. Almost done.
Woo!
And they were just huddled there, counting down the miles with the pace and then the cutoff time. And I remember we had about maybe 8 miles left, and they got to 6 miles and hit 4 a.m., which meant we were not gonna make the cutoff time. And there was just something that transcended through my body that could not let me fail. And it was such an out-of-body experience that I didn't even really look back, and my body just started to sprint forward, and then Caroline just trailing after me because I could not come this far and not finish. And looking back at it now is just something I'm so proud about in that race, to know that I had a spark in me that wanted me to do good.
Yeah, Jen yelled, I'm not gonna go this far and not finish.
I did say that.
She was so livid in that moment, and it was just such a vivid part of the race to see her freak out and then just start sprinting off into the darkness.
I did have Bryce and David in the back of my mind. I didn't just completely leave them in the dust, but I did leave a dust trail. I just kept asking Caroline, do you see them? Do you see their headlamps? And she would confirm, because I didn't want to fully leave you behind, but I also at that moment had to be selfish because I had to make sure I got there. I'm sorry I was so selfish in that moment, but there was just something I could not control in my body that did not want to let me fail.
Yeah, I don't blame you, and I think we really needed that kick in the butt at that point. After getting over 50 miles in, there was no way, if you asked me in that moment, could you run any more of this race? I just had to turn into like a bipedal creature and just use my trekking poles, and was just, running uphill and digging in and just like running on these loose rocks the whole time with the trekking poles and trying to catch up to them. And I ended up having some of the fastest miles of the race that I ran to catch up to them in order for us to then run, I think, a couple more miles to get to the next aid station. That was a make or break moment, and I'm so glad that Jen had the resolve and took it so seriously, so that we weren't at risk of not finishing the race.
I think out of everything in that section, I was just so surprised that I could even go that fast. I had no inkling that I had any more left in me. I was in so much pain with my calf tear that every rock and incline we went up was just so challenging. It was like my body ghosted me, because obviously I was sprinting that I thought I could never go, and the rocks were even more challenging in those sections. My body went to autopilot mode and just let me get speed where I had thought I had none left.
I'm just really proud of us that we pushed through and endured the pain.
Yeah, and we're able to find the drive within ourselves, because I feel like through life, you don't really get pressure all the time to find that drive or really dig deep. And this is kind of what this race provided us. Was we have more in us and more dedication and determination than we would ever imagine. Yes, it's an arbitrary goal to get to a finish line, but you need to have those sparks in your life to transcend, to get you to your other goals in your life.
That was an amazing moment and completely unforgettable.
Yeah, that was probably the best part of the whole thing. Oh, you know, unless we finished.
Yeah.
But while doing that push, my main goal in my head was to get to Doe Springs, which was the last aid station of the race, which is 3 miles from the finish. So we were able to all connect back together right before we got to Doe Springs, and we all made a pact that just gonna drink a little bit of water and push on. We were not gonna dilly-dally at this aid station whatsoever, even though the volunteers there were great and they were there for so long. I felt so bad for them for being up so late or early. I also want to take this time to just say thank you to all the volunteers and staff that put this race on, because without you there, we would not have these defining, memorable moments that change us forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Prior to Doe Springs, we had calculated that we'd be 2 minutes past cutoff. So when we did that huge push, we gained so much ground, and once we arrived, we found out we had 45 minutes to spare with 3 miles left. So we still needed to keep kicking our butt into gear, but maybe not as fast.
After a brief stop there, we just pushed through and we're just gunning for the end of the race at this point. I think that adrenaline was once again somewhat high, and I don't know, almost more, I think, chipper and upbeat than the last 10 miles had been, just because like we knew we were gonna finish, and I think we're all confident now that we were gonna beat cutoff.
This last section for me was very emotional. I had waves of being super proud, and then waves of just crying, and waves of frustration. I've just never been through that many levels of emotion, all within maybe a minute of time. I think it was all well-deserved emotions. I feel like going through all of that really set in stone of the achievement and how challenging all of this adventure was, if we wanted to call it an adventure, or this death march. I think it was the perfect feeling to have getting so close to the end, because it just means I was giving it my all at that time.
We absolutely did that. I don't think there's any denying or question. Soon enough, we were coming up on those lights and they kept getting brighter, and we knew that, okay, this is it. This is the finish line. Finally, our suffering can end.
Woo! Yes! Woo! Woo! Yes!
And Bryce Raider.
It was just such an intense moment, and I've never finished anything where I was just so happy that it was over.
I just was like a waterfall at the end. I couldn't contain myself. I felt so proud of you. I felt so excited, and also so proud of our crew for hanging through that, because that was a whole day. I mean, they were up when we were up and stayed up as long as we were up and had to configure all this planning. And so that takes a lot of mental power and just making sure that they're doing the best that they are doing. And we are just beyond lucky to be able to even have that support system behind us.
Oh man, I totally agree. There's no way we could have done it without everyone involved. I mean,
Yeah.
That was a really special day. I've never ever been as proud as I was in that moment for us to push through anything, and I did not think it was possible for me, and just to take it section by section and keep trying and keep pushing and try to have the best attitude you can. And it created a new boundary or a new gear that now I know I have that I didn't have before that. It's something that I just think is so special, and I'm so glad that we started this pursuit together, and I'm so glad that we just are able to do this with our friends and try to do it all together. I mean, it's a really special time in our life, and thank you, Black Canyon, for putting this on and allowing us this opportunity. It definitely made me excited for future endeavors, and I think gave us both understanding and hope that we have the strength inside to push further and go farther and hopefully faster, and be better trained, that sort of stuff. But obviously we're learning as we go, and this was just another stepping stone in our story.
Crossing the finish line was the answer to our question that we had in our mind the whole entire race, which was, could we? And we definitely can.
Yeah, in this case, we could.
Yeah. Together. Who knew that he would beat all odds and get to the finish with me and feel so much better?
Yeah, anyone that was on DraftKings betting against me, it was a bad choice.
Getting to do this journey together is something that I will never take back, because we get to work together and overcome obstacles that we probably don't get to challenge ourselves every day with. And we get to see each other at our worst selves, but also our best selves and our most determined self. And so I think it's the ultimate test to our relationship. And so getting across the finish line with you just proves that if we can do that, we really literally can do everything.
Yeah, after the last few years, I certainly feel that way.
Yeah.
I think if there's a goal that one of us really has and the other one is even remotely interested, that we can do that together, and I think that's a pretty special thing.
But with all of that, we just want to say a huge thank you for everyone that has supported us through this journey. You were definitely the luck we needed and the support we needed, and we just couldn't do these races really without your guys' support, because you really push our boundaries further than we could ever expect. So we look forward to being able to run with you guys in the future.
Yeah, thanks everyone. These are some of my happiest, best memories of my entire life, and they happen to coincide with running, so that's pretty special, right?
That is really special.
Yeah, these are some of the greatest days ever, most memorable.
I'm just glad we got that captured on camera, so
Torturous days. Terrible.
everyone can now see the proof that you do love running. That's the love for running.
There's part of it that I love.